In your opinion, what are the innovations in higher education?
Your college doesn't get you a job, it's a skill that you study in the college that gets you a job. And I've been saying this for the last 5 years.
Even if you manage to raise funds, people think that once you raise funds, you are successful. Not at all. It's not even 1% of success.
We file 20,000 right to information reports every single year to access, collect, collate data for students to decide. We get 20 lakh students a day on the platform. That technology will solve all your problems is wrong.
Because we have been teaching people online for 10 years now, right?
See, what you're learning here is like what I've seen of you. It's a very, very impressive classroom. So you all deserve a big applause for taking that risk, but still coming here and learning what you are, because these guys have created a fantastic environment for you to, in terms of learning. You are taught in a classroom, but you learn outside the classroom.
Good morning, respected sir, faculties, and all my dear friends. Today, it is my privilege to introduce Mr. Maheshwer Peri, a luminary in the field of entrepreneurship, education, and advocacy for equal opportunities. Mr. Peri's journey is one of the remarkable diversity and unwavering dedication. With a background spanning across finance, media, and education, he embarked on an entrepreneurial endeavor in 2009 that would redefine the landscape of higher education discovery in India. As the founder and chairman of Careers360, he envisioned a platform that not only provided comprehensive information on institution and exams, but also served as a beacon of hope for millions of aspiring individuals. Under his visionary leadership, Careers360 has grown to become India's largest higher education discovery platform, boasting an extensive database of institutions and exams, with a dedicated team of 350 individuals driving its mission forward. Please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt welcome to Mr. Maheshwer Peri.
Thank you so much, Mahesh, to take the time out.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
And I'll start with like another thank to you. There's a context that I have. So as many of you would know that 2006 is when I started my higher education. And like, of course, just like many of you, I grew up in a very small town in MP. At that time, I think just discovering and knowing that what is the right place to invest my 4 years of my life. And I think that's very, very precious, right? 4 years of your formative years is a very precious thing to invest somewhere. Figuring out that what is the right place and what is not the right place. Often, for me, I can talk about myself that it was a defining moment in my life. After my early childhood in a small village, Amarkanta, then going to IIIT Hyderabad, and I'll talk about how did I make that decision. Because back in 2006, IIIT Hyderabad, while today it is a very reputed old institute, it was not. There was an Outlook used to publish a ranking of engineering institutes, and despite IIIT being a new one, and of course our IIIT like respected sirs, professors being them, they wouldn't have, no one would know, like in our town, our city, no one knew that what is IIIT Hyderabad. In that Outlook ranking, it was ranked 7 out of 10, even ahead of many of the IITs. And that is what helped me decide that, this looks like a good place to be at. And I can tell you that changed my life, that single decision. So being able to discover that, what are the right places, I think, and like for many, many decades, you have been creating that impact. Not sure how much even you would know that what kind of impact that is creating to the whole nation. Thank you for that. So with that, I'll start the session. There are many industry leaders who keep visiting, and I think generally we keep talking about, to quote Bhavin from earlier session, that it is everyone's moral responsibility to create impact on the society and world around you in proportion to your capabilities. How many of you remember that from Bhavin's session? Great. I will continue from that. That I think by default, the general perception is always that, that you go to college, you study, you get a job, you earn a lot of money. It's obvious, right? But Mahesh, if you could talk about that, you have had maybe 30, 40 years in the industry. There was a day when you were 17, 18-year-old, 22-year-old. What would be your advice to yourself if that Mahesh is sitting somewhere here in the audience.
So I'll take it not from the question, but otherwise. Um, what do you think is the role of technology? Of course, it's to make life easy and all is just one part of it. But do you think technology should reduce costs? Can you just raise your hands if you believe in that? Okay. Can you tell me whether the cost of education has reduced or not? How many say yes? So the cost of education has come down is what you believe. One person. Anyone else? Two. Okay. Anyone else? Right. So basically about 98% people believe that cost of education has gone up. And you also believe that technology should reduce costs. So essentially technology failed because it did not reduce costs, right? Which is where I think this generation has to work on. There are larger objectives for certain things to happen. Technology must create access to education and must create affordability of education. And this is just one of the examples I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm dealing with education because I understand education better, but it can be on anything else that you would do, right? Each of you have a larger responsibility to ensure that the larger objective of what you're learning here, which is technology, is executed in such a way that the larger purpose is served. The larger purpose. Of course, you will write a very efficient code. Of course, you will make it like वो हम बॉम्बे में बोलते हैं मस्का जैसा साइट चल रहा है, ठीक है? ये सब आप करोगे. And none of you, trust me, over a 10-year span, you would all have succeeded. बीच में ऊपर नीचे जाएगा, एक placement is, one of you will not get a right placement, one of you will be unhappy in a job. All those things will happen. That's a normal journey, because you need to start looking at life in a slightly longer tenure than saying, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to take it from my prof. Those are small issues. You will also not get the right company at times. You may not even get placed at times in a job that you would want. All those things might happen. But because of what you learned here, the kind of group that you're a part of, the kind of network that you're a part of, the kind of learning that you actually have gone through in this journey, you will get a good job. You will keep growing. And if you look at yourself in 2034, you would have achieved that. Yeah, the problem that I saw behind me were petty. Why was I even bothered about it? And that's what you will reach, right? But don't forget the larger purpose for which you've gone through technology. And it is meant to solve problems. It's in education, as I said, it's meant to ensure that access to education is much more. Affordability becomes slightly, it should reduce costs in a certain sense. You're not jumping over each other, stamping over each other to get there. You're also creating parallel pathways to get there, right? While ensuring that the existing space is not killed in the process, right? So, for me, did Vijay come here ever? Vijay Shekhar Sharma, did he come here?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We are hoping to have him soon.
So, Vijay is on my board. So, long back we were talking, right? You have so many startups that are around. And I'm sure some of you would want to start something of your own. So, I'm talking about that, right? The thing that Paytm did, or now UPI does, is that Paytm during COVID days ensured that the business was normal. No merchant died. It enabled merchants, 6 million merchants those days, who would have otherwise closed shop because the country was in a lockdown mode. That is impact. That is enabling stuff, right? And you need to use technology to create those kind of stuff where you enable people to keep working, keep living, keep being happy, and so on and so forth. And that larger objective must always be in your mind, right? So for me, you should keep that at the back of your mind. Dusra, I think this generation again is living in a world where what is supposed to be normal has become abnormal. I'll give you an example. Like when you're passing by the street, you see an old woman being beaten up by a young boy, right? A lot of people drive past because you're living in a busy world, right? And then one person stops, pauses, and ensures that that abuse, that violence is stopped. Next day in the newspaper, there is an article saying that young boy stops an old woman being beaten up and he becomes a hero, right? But it's supposed to be normal. When did it become heroic? It's supposed to be normal that when an old woman is being beaten up, you will pause and stop it. But it's now abnormal. Some of you believe in God, some of you don't believe in God, some of you hate God. It's okay, right? But everyone had the opportunity to stop and become a hero. 100 people gave it a pass. The 101st guy took it up, right? So you must learn to snatch opportunities when they come your way. Don't pass by them. In everyday life, it happens. It can be one of your faculty members being very rude to one of your friends. It can be anything, right? It can be anything where there's a chance for you to stand up and speak up and get noticed. Getting noticed is not about doing drama. It's about in everyday real life, picking up opportunities that come your way and doing the right thing. Doing the right thing based on your heart, your soul, कि ये सही है kind of thing. तीसरा चीज बोलूंगा मैं आपसे कि you need to create trust and credibility in what you say, right? Some people will faff around. Some people will be very shy and introvert and will not speak. But when given a chance, they will speak. But everyone is still judged based on your first sentence that you make or first paragraph that you make. I went for an interview recently in Pune for recruitment for my own company. And there were a bunch of students like you. And it was a final interview. So I happened to be in Pune, otherwise I don't attend interviews. So मैंने बोला कि मैं भी आ जाऊँगा. I went to see the institution actually, and then I said कि मैं भी आ जाऊँगा. And I sat in the panel. So there is this boy who came in and said, "What do you do?" He said, "Sir, I follow stock markets." Brilliant. And then I said, "I follow stock markets and every day that's my hobby. Also, it's not just passion, interest, it's also my hobby." Fantastic. I said, "What's the index today?" Sir, I did not read today because I was preparing for this interview. I said, "Okay, what was it over the last 1 week? What is the general?" Sir, last 1 week we've been busy with the examinations, right? Then the next question saying, "Okay, what do you think? Where is the index going and all?" And he floundered at every single level. He was trying to impress me by saying that he's very good at stock markets. Now, all of us, the first cue comes from what you talk to us, right? There's another girl who came and sat in the interview and she said, "Sir, I don't follow this finance and all, but I'll follow Bollywood box office numbers." I said, "Okay, what is the collection of the last movie of Ranbir Kapoor?" She gave me the number. What is the collection of the last 3 hits of Ranbir? She gave with numbers and everything. Now you decide, who do I select? Right? Right. There's another thing also on integrity. There's another boy who came and he said, "Okay, sir," and he had a work ex. So he said, "Okay, sir, in my earlier job, I sold, fixed deposits to my entire village. Even though I knew that the company was bad, the company was Sahara, and this guy was working in a village in Maharashtra." Right? He told the truth that he was selling. So to that extent, there is integrity. But are you likely to use your own connects, your own relationships to push a product which you know would not be refunded back to you? That's integrity. आप समझ रहे हो ना? So what I'm saying is, in your life now, some lies may take you further. But once it is caught now, everything that you did till then becomes a lie. Now imagine yourself, we talked of integrity, we talked of truthfulness, we talked of standing up for the right things and all. 20 years from now, 10 years from now, rather this generation moves faster, 5 years from now, you're starting a large company and you have 1,000 crore funding. And you want to create a team. And obviously you fall back on your network of people here also. Who are you likely to recruit? The guy who sold the Sahara product? The girl who told the truth of saying, "I only follow Bollywood"? and the guy who's lied, saying I whatever, and the guy. So at that point in time, you would obviously would be looking for not people who are slimy and working on shortcuts for success and all, but you'd always look for people who are hardworking, have great amount of integrity, maybe not as efficient as someone else, but great amount of integrity and loyalty to what you do, right? That's what you do. So when it concerns you, you might not look at a friend who's knows how to have shortcuts to business. You will actually look for a person who might not be talking to you, but has great amount of integrity, and then you will fall back saying, यार वो लड़का अच्छा है, वो लड़की अच्छी है, उसको मैं कैसे भी लाना चाहिए, right? So your connections and friendships would not work when you're creating something for yourself. What you will be looking for is who's the ideal person for me, and which is what we as entrepreneurs every day go through. In my journey of 350 people, that a lot of people come and have gone. But one thing I'm very sure is that they would not hate me when they go out of it, because when they see the world, they say कि यार बंदा ठीक ही था, इतना बुरा नहीं था. समझ रहे हो ना आप?
Taking a follow-up question on the same, in the very beginning you talked about education being more accessible, more, and by access automatically it reduces to more affordable as well. What do you think are the innovations in education, and particularly in a country like ours, where what I see is that for our country to propel to prosperity, there are only two fundamental pillars of that. One being the infrastructure, which sure, government is investing on that, and second is the skill set of the demographic dividend that we have. And then the skill set building is fundamentally only rooted in whether education is accessible, affordable, etc. or not. In your opinion, what are the innovations in higher education that absolutely need to happen? I'm asking this question because that could be an inspiration to many of the people sitting here, that how they could think about leveraging technology and building that, because it's as much as probably, building something that can widen the skill-based education to much more people is as much as building thousands of kilometers of road probably. So any thoughts on that?
See, I think skills are here to stay. Degrees may not get you a job. Like I've always been saying that your college doesn't get you a job. It's a skill that you study in the college that gets you a job. And I've been saying this for the last 5 years. We have RTI data of IITs. अभी IITs के बारे में बहुत लिखा जाता है कि placement नहीं हो रहा है. You would have read that, many of you, right? They said that 4 years back, because the civil engineering of IIT Delhi 4 years back placement is 46%. So IIT did not get you a job. The skill lost you a job, right? The challenge for you is to ensure that you do the right balance, because you don't get a degree, for example. You only go through the skill, and you want to do research at some point in time. It will ask you for a degree. We've still not gotten away from that whole thing. So you must be very careful about how you take your steps of balancing both the things. And from that perspective, I think Scala is doing a good thing, right? The Indian education ecosystem was not tuned to skilling people. It was tuned to teaching people. And skilling has now gone into the system. So because a lot of companies from outside have come in and are trying to create skill networks, skilling courses. So now the education ecosystem also is saying कि हम ही skilling करवाएंगे. And that is important. Two, I do have a grudge against all the tech companies, including ourselves, saying कि, we talk all this bull, but we have not made education affordable. We only increase the price of education, right? So there is a lot more to work on. Three, one of the things that happened of late is that 30% of your course curriculum even in formal degree programs can be delivered through outside networks, and that's a massive revolution, if I may say so.
Further continuing on the same path of skill versus degree, because that's always the debate, right? I often like talking about, I think I was listening to one of the article written by you long back. There's a number of BTech graduates we produce, right? And then the unemployability and the what are your thoughts on that? How much does, like, one is having a formal undergraduate degree, ensuring that you have all the chances to pursue everything that you want to do in life. Very, very clear, extremely important. You do not want to, like, if a 12th class kids. I remember one of you had walked up to me and asked that, sir, what if I don't do, undergrad at all? I'll just learn everything. I'll have great life. And my running advice always is that, no, that is not right. You cannot foresee what you might want to do 4 years down the line, and you do not want to close any of those doors, right? So doing your undergraduate is definitely important. The second layer is that what undergraduate? In India, I think for whatever, call it the social media, call it the strong pull for BTech, there's a kind of unsaid hierarchy created in the mind of people that BTech is great, BSc is okay, and let's say all other bachelor program are not good at all. If someone is, let's say, for example, some of the top universities in US, they offer a BA in computer science. Because what they feel is that computer science is an art, right? So they say Bachelor of Art in Computer Science. But on the other hand, in India, it's a perception that, oh, BA is something that's not really a good degree. Like, how do you think about it? Like, mindset is what it is. We cannot, like, to a larger extent, we cannot maybe change it. But what are your personal thoughts about it, of these perceptions of different degrees in the minds?
For you, the degree might be a need at some point in time, so it's a safety net. I kept saying this. It's a safety net. But the skill will take you further. Don't dispense off the degree saying, I can do everything, because as I said, tomorrow now, I found some people who in the innovation lab and they might want to do research. But for that, master's is important. And master's formal. See, the degrees is a filtration tool for us to say, okay, you acquired the following kind of knowledge up to this point in time. It's a filtration tool. Today, HR companies, when we recruit, why do they say minimum graduate? They could have said minimum skill set. But how do you assess the skill set? That's where many things happen. Now in tech now, you can always say you can go to GitHub and deal with this and all those kind of things, right? But it's not uniform across all kinds of job sets, right? And that is where, certain things become important. So my request to all of you is see, what you're learning here is like what I've seen of you. It's a very, very impressive classroom. So you all deserve a big applause for taking that risk, but still coming here and learning what you are, because these guys have created a fantastic environment for you to, in terms of learning, right? So it's brilliant that you taken that plunge and they've lived up to the trust that you have put in them, right? But don't give in one for the other. Both are equally important and you must pursue both of them. And I think for another 5-10 years, this might continue. I'm hoping that it will get demolished, honestly. I'm hoping that at some point in time, we don't need to do degree and then go through this thing. But it's not about to happen overnight. That's my worry.
On this, just one opinion is that now, particularly, we are living in a world which is changing at a pace that, like, you can never hope that I'll just study something today and I'll be set for life.
Yeah.
You have to keep learning. The learning to learn is the most important part. I think, as many of you who were doing the lecture session series by Amod, as he keep emphasizing in his lectures, that learning to learn, ability to think critically and adapt to as the world changes. I think that will always be the skill issue you talked about. Your skill will not be whether you know C++ or whether you know Java, or because those things will keep changing. They're bound to change. No one can stop that. But being able to learn anything new that is happening in the industry, adapt to that, that is the most important.
I think resilience and flexibility are very important for your generation. Resilience and flexibility. Like, for example, in COVID times, people did hospitality. And they were passing out of a course in hospitality. Hotels were closed. They were sacking their own people. How would you deal with that? So these people created a short-term course to make them work in, counseling teams, calling teams, and those kind of things. Because ultimately in hospitality, you learn how to be good to the person on the other side, right? That's what it is. So that flexibility and that resilience to say, okay, a couple of hits I'll take, but I'll still stand up is very, very important.
And the confidence that, whatever it be, I can learn it. I have the capability to learn and adapt and create value out of my efforts. I think that confidence, learnability, those are the.
How many of you want to be entrepreneurs? Very good, very good, very, very good. So one of the things I'll tell you, because that's important also, is that a lot of people come to me personally also and saying, sir, I want to start something of my own. And you veer towards what is hot, and hot meaning greater demand, um, maybe getting funded, and so on and so forth. By the time you create that, now that hot will become cold also. So create something where there is a need, then what is hot. So if you experience the need, then it has a greater chance for success because you experience the need. But if you go towards what is being funded, EdTech was being funded 5 years back, right? Right now, only the right EdTechs are being chased. 80% of them will fall apart. That's what I foresee because the model was based on something else. And that doesn't have sustainability, if I may say so.
To double click on the same point, focus on what problem are you solving.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that authentic problem that really needs solution or not? Something which is in hype today, 80-90% of the things which are in hype today will not be hype tomorrow.
Yeah.
Even if you manage to raise funds, people think that once you raise funds, you are successful. Not at all. It's not even 1% of success.
If you work on the need that you want to solve, it has very, very good survivability.
Identify a problem which is an important problem for a lot of people. Make sure that you are solving it in a solid way, that it really addresses that problem.
We file 20,000 right to information reports every single year to collate data for students to decide. We get 20 lakh students a day on the platform.
Because we have been teaching people online for 10 years now, right? So me teaching in the class is maybe only 20%. 80% is all of you who are here together, learning together, building projects together. And so far, I wouldn't say it is not possible. But so far, I have not been able to figure out that how do we create this collaboration of learning, collaborative learning online. So I would say that while I keep striving to solve that technology, but we have not been able to solve that.
The peer group learning is much, much more than what is taught in a classroom. You are taught in a classroom, but you learn outside the classroom when you sit amongst people. Like all the IITians, their hostel rooms are the most vibrant place where they
Actually, I would ask
something.
you all that you would learn X in this classroom and Y in your hostel, right? How do you compare X and Y? Y, right? So this is just the seed. What you learn here in the classroom is just the seed. The real tree gets built in your hostel.
See, I'll give you another example, which is live example that you see it around, right? During COVID times, everyone said that, oh, coaching has moved online and no one will come to the classroom. Once the classrooms opened, the online coaching almost is up there, on the brink of extinction, in my opinion. They're doing it as supplementary, not primary. They take online as supplementary, right? That's because the discipline, the process, the competitive nature, the peer group learning, all these things are missing in that space. Someday, I'm also hoping that it gets solved, right? But I think what you do here is much more than what you might do in a classroom, and that's important.
Right. So, shall we close the session?
I'll just have one last thing that I want to say. This I tell to all students, so it's important for me to finish that. Otherwise, I'll feel guilty that I have not finished my whole thing. So, this is actually a commencement speech that was given by a US Justice in one of the big colleges. I'll just read that out to you. It's not me, it's someone else who said it, but I thought it is very remarkable that he said what he said. Now, the commencement speakers will typically also wish you good luck and extend good wishes to you. I will not do that, and I'll tell you why. From time to time in the years to come, I hope you will be treated unfairly, so that you will come to know the value of justice. I hope that you will suffer betrayal, because that will teach you the importance of loyalty. Sorry to say, but I hope you will be lonely from time to time, so that you don't take friends for granted. I wish you bad luck again from time to time, so that you will be conscious of the role of chance in life and understand that your success is not completely deserved, and that the failure of others is not completely deserved either. And when you lose, as you will from time to time, I hope every now and then your opponent will gloat over your failure. It is a way for you to understand the importance of sportsmanship. I hope you will be ignored so you know the importance of listening to others. And I hope you will have just enough pain to learn compassion. Whether I wish these things or not, they're going to happen. And whether you benefit from them or not will depend upon your ability to see the message in your misfortunes. Thank you so much, guys.